Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I'm your host Ray,
I'm Evy.
and today we're looking at SpiderWoman. It's a Marvel motion picture or motion animation cartoon miniseries brought to you by Marvel Knights and written by Brian Michael Bendis. It's called SpiderWoman: Agent of Sword. What was your initial impressions of this miniseries?
Pardon me?
What was your impressions of this miniseries?
Oh, it was interesting. Like, I don't know, it's kind of drawn all the time
Mhm.
and um and yeah, kind of everything in slow motion sometimes, and sometimes it's not.
Did you know anything before going into this, like anything about this particular character or situation she's in?
Honestly, like the person talks all the time
Hmm.
about who they are, and and she seems very sad, you know. She seems very sad because she keeps saying, I gotta do this, gotta do that. And it's like, poor lady, you know, I kind of feel sorry for her actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's she's hiding like she looks like she's hiding all the time, but you know, it's not a good existence from the start for her. She's just very sad, unfortunately. And I'm thinking, oh man, hopefully it'll get better, you know?
Mm,
So yeah.
yeah.
So
Just to give some context, this is weird because it's going more by the comic book. So just for those who don't read the comic books, this came out probably like I don't know, maybe like 5 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. So after Civil War, there's a thing called Secret Invasions. As you know, Disney Plus will be coming out with Secret Invasion. Emilia Clarke will be in it. Her character is it's under wraps as a secret, so no one knows like who she's portraying. Uh,
okay, okay.
but according to this, anyway, so after Civil War, there's like a couple like when they have those comic book crossovers, those annual
Mhm.
events,
Right, yeah.
right? So Secret Invasion was one, and at one point when they had Civil War, you had Iron Man, and you had Captain America. Well, Captain
Yeah.
America had his own team, which consisted of Luke Cage, Wolverine,
Hmm.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Spider-Woman, and maybe one or two other characters, right?
Hmm.
Anyways, later on, it was revealed that the Skrulls, which who are the
Yeah.
shapeshifter changes, which from the Miss Marvel movies, the Skrulls infiltrated and they take over the Earth. And the queen of the Skrulls, happened to be Spider-Woman. And so the character of Jessica Drew, no one knew what happened to her. She was
Yeah.
captured and basically abducted. And no one knows how long. And I don't think she knows how long she was abducted for. I guess she was drugged or put on some sort of stasis pod or something like that until she was able to be rescued once the heroes find out what happened.
Hmm.
So what you're seeing in the cartoon is you saw remnants of some of the soldiers who recognize her as the queen,
Yeah.
and in the opening of the episode, we see her like in a motel a motel or a hotel in London, England, where she was just wallowing in her own self pity, as you were kind of like suggesting. She's kind of like in a Debbie Downer state
Hmm.
because she's alone, and she had after the alien abduction, she's kind of in a downward spiral, and
Yeah, for sure.
so that's how we're seeing her. So this takes place after the invasion. The hero is won, but she is the casualties of war.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of sets up where we are in terms of. So this is kind of like just in that. So it's kind of like in a mid thought. Like story.
Right. Yeah.
So if you didn't know, you wouldn't understand by watching. You won't understand
Mm.
why she is in the way she is, and why she's
Yeah.
here and all that stuff. What's cool is I think is that we're introduced to Madripoor. I mean, if you watch Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they were in Madripoor. We kind of revisit that area where it's like a nest for like villains where they kind of network around.
Hmm.
Um, so what do you think of the characters that were in this?
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool, you know, with the special effects and all the characters, you know, and it's like I wanna learn more. You know, although it's sad,
Mhm.
it's made in the way that you want to um, learn more. You know, it's yeah, yeah, it's interesting, a downer type of thing, but that kind of makes you wanna learn more, which I
Right.
think is cool.
Hmm. How
Which
much do you know of Sword?
sword?
Hmm.
Not much. I'm learning about another bunch of superheroes, you
Well,
know.
yes, that's true. If you watch WandaVision, the agency that was going after Wanda, that's
Yeah.
Sword.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, which
They did a
stands
good job.
for Sentient World Observation Response Department. Basically, they're like Shield, but their job is to is I guess is the department for like extraterrestrial activity, whereas
Right.
Shield
Yeah.
is more on Earth. So think of it as
Nice.
Shield, but on space. You
Oh,
know,
cool.
that's all they do. Their department is basically, yeah. And according to them, or according to the episode of the series that we watch, we find out there's actually 32 different alien races on Earth.
Hmm.
So that was mentioned. I didn't know that. That's one thing I didn't know about.
Yeah,
But I'm
same
sure
here.
in terms of comic book lore, there's a bunch of aliens on Earth. So
It's true, huh?
so that was pretty interesting. What was there anything that surprised you, or anything that you learned from watching the series?
It's kind of reminded me of the mafia.
Yeah. You're right. We should also mention, okay, so during the Civil War, like basically, Shield, as you know, after Civil War, Shield kind of broke up, and there's kind of
Yeah.
like a distrust and everything. Hydra's still around because of that whole thing. So
Mhm.
Norman Osborn happens to be the director of Shield, you
Oh,
know, and Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. So the
yeah.
world is at this time is not exactly balanced, to put it
No.
in a nice way. And Thunderbolts are considered, well, when you're watching Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier, the U.S. agent, which was the guy who has a super soldier serum, gets
Hmm.
gets recruited by Val, played by Julia Louise Dreyfus. Well,
Yeah.
that's one theory, is that he's being recruited to join the Thunderbolts.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're seeing them in this cartoon. So they're like, usually they're former criminals who's been rehabilitated to, like, kind of like Suicide Squad. Think of it like that.
Yeah.
And who are working for the government, working for the good guys.
Hmm.
But because Norman Osborn is the leader of the pack, it's kind of like a dark version of that.
Hmm.
But they're still supposed to be good guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some characters. So we're introduced to Abigail Brand. So again, I don't know if that's going to be Emilia Clarke's character from Game of Thrones,
Okay.
but that's her. She's like the head of Sword, and
Yep.
her background is her parents. One parent is alien, the other parent is human, but is also a human mutant character.
Okay.
And her powers, she got, I believe, from the mutant side. I don't think it's from the alien side. And I'm not sure what kind of alien race she is. And I believe her power, I could be wrong, it's kind of like, like the character of Firestarter in the Stephen King
Yeah.
books. I think it's something like that. She's a pyrokinetic, but I
Oh, cool.
could be wrong. I don't really know. Also, I never read Secret Invasion. So when we do
Hmm.
the the TV series review on Disney Plus, you and I will be learning it from ground zero. I have
Cool.
absolutely zero knowledge of
Okay.
Secret Invasion, and I never read the comic books.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So it's really, really dark. We're introduced to, like, because it was a scroll. Well, tell us what a scroll is, because you know this by now.
A scroll.
Yeah.
I'm learning it too, Ray.
Well, no, like, because I mean, you watched Captain Marvel, right? So a scroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are scrolls based on watching that movie?
Oh, that's like they're a race of people who actually they're not very nice.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're not very nice. They're like evil.
Hmm.
So yeah, so they want to survive, as do bad people or good people, right?
What kind of
Um,
powers do they have? What's their ability?
their ability, I don't
Hmm.
know that.
They're shapeshifters.
Oh, okay, right. Thanks, man. I've had so much energy in my head. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
wish I
they
had
are
that energy.
shapeshifter actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they
So
are shapeshifters.
Yeah, and that's why they call it secret invasion, because they can infiltrate anybody and become anybody they want to. In Captain Marvel, is it Captain Marvel? Yeah, the shapeshifters in there are good guys. They're just people who want to go back home, or because they were taken out by the Kree, which is again different movie, different scenario. So not all Skrulls are evil, but the majority, because they're moving on, they want to I guess they see Earth is very habitable, and they want to take advantage of it. So I'm guessing that's what we're going to be getting with Secret Invasion when it comes out. But with this one, I saw this miniseries as a good way to give us an introduction to that. So like if you're curious about Secret Invasion and want to know about like what's going to be happening, this kind of gives you an idea of like how bad the big bad will be, what is their abilities can do. I mean, if you watch Captain Marvel, you know the shapeshifter, sorry, but the extent of how bad it can go kind of this is sort of your litmus test of that, to understand how that is about to break down. Wolverine and the heroes of that, in terms of this particular cartoon, show up and they kind of help her out near the end. But in general, what do you think about the cartoon? Like the look of the cartoon, did you?
Kind of dark, kind of dark, and very like, everything is like almost like Batman. That kind of like the new one, right? Very dark. And and it's like you wanna figure out like what's going on. It's not cherry or fun or whatever. It's not. It's, I don't know. It's kind of airy, actually. So I can't wait for the second series or whatever it is. Or is it 7? How many? No, it's like 7 series, is right?
Of what?
No, like 7. 7 kind of modes it goes through. Like it's issue 1, 2, 3.
Are you talking about this miniseries?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah, no, I was like 7. Oh, sorry. No, this is only a 5-episode miniseries. When you do like Marvel Knights Eternals, that's like 10 episodes, which is very lengthy. But no, this is only 5 episodes. It's like
5 episodes. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's okay. It's only 5 episodes. Sorry. Did I interrupted you? What was your point? Sorry.
I don't remember it. That's okay. I'm old.
Okay. Well, okay, let's talk about SpiderWoman, because from the cartoon, from what we saw, what is her powers? Because a lot of people may not even know. I mean, people know Spider-Man, but SpiderWoman's been around for a long, long time. But we probably don't know much about her. But based on what you've seen from this cartoon, what are her abilities from what you've seen?
Well, she kind of reminds me of just she wants to go after people who are evil, actually, and take them out, because she sees them as her enemies.
But can she crawl walls? Does she shoot spider webs? Does she fly? Like, what's her gifts?
From what I don't know, Ray. What are they? Sorry, I saw it a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you also saw the cartoon, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like she, she doesn't like the Skrulls because they can shapeshift.
Right, because she was abducted by them, and she has a rightful Okay. Well, let me give you some back history, because I was a fan of the comic book for a long time. It's been out since the 70s. That's how long she's been around.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
And she was sort of introduced in, how do I put this? Yeah, she's been around for I guess 1978, I think. We did a review back when we did it. You and I did an older podcast. We did a review of SpiderWoman cartoon. It was a cartoon series, right?
Right.
And it was really, really bad. But Yeah, it was 1978 because they did a parody of Star Wars in one episode.
Mm.
And you and I reviewed that. We're not going to trust me. We're not going to be reviewing this on this show, but
Okay.
because it's because 1970s cartoon lacks a certain level of like for children, it lacks a certain level of edginess and intellect.
Okay.
Of this century, I would say it degrades itself. Like
Okay.
if you watch Super Friends back in the day and you watch it
Yeah.
now, you're like, oh, you would shake your head. This is really, really bad.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking of this right in my head
Mhm.
to way back, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, that is pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
But
So, which is why I think the kids who watched Super Friends back then made it more like edgier and correct now. We had an opportunity to do right by it. Okay, so going back to SpiderWoman. So it's been around since 78, I believe, or 79. When it first came out, she had a solo issue. It lasted 50 issues exactly. She was a PI, kind of like Jessica Jones, right? But they're not the same thing. Although it's easy to confuse the two characters because they look virtually the same. But in this particular cartoon, she was able to manipulate people either to fall in love with her or to be afraid of her to the point where they pee their pants and cowl to the corner.
Wow.
So that was pretty interesting.
Interesting.
Do you remember that part at all? Like
in
her interrogation scenes and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Is there any scenes that you recall from this series before we call it off, call it a day? But like, is there anything that stands out that was memorable for you?
What I saw it just being dark. That's all I really remember of it. But
really?
It's like I don't know, it's kind of dark, like Batman, and you just have to give it a chance, though, right?
Yeah.
Like to keep watching it, or else it'll make you more sad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. And it never occurred to me, but you're right. She is like Batman. She's kind of a moody person.
Okay.
Weight of the world on her shoulders, kind of like edginess to it. If you watch this, the most relatable cartoon or movie would be like The Dark Knight. Then would you say that's an accurate thing?
Yeah, I would say so.
Mm.
I would say so. But still, it's a good program though for that in it. Yeah, like the sociology of the human being, maybe.
Yeah, and it just gives it a layer to the character. It's not like watching the early He-Man cartoons or like it's a moral of the story is this. It's more like there's something to go to it. Okay, so out of 10, what would you give this series?
Okay, I'd give it maybe like a 7 or an 8, and that's being generous. Well, because of the topic and stuff, right? Yeah,
I went into this completely blind, and again, this is a character that no one really knows about too much, unless you read the comic books and were following it. So yeah, it's for me, it's a 5, but which means it's really borderline. It wasn't bad, but because it takes place in mid thought of a series of events, which means you actually have to read the comic books to understand the baggage that this character has, and that's not right or fair to the viewing audience.
Right.
If it gave you some better backstory rather than relying on a certain series of comic books, which I'm going to say not a lot of people have actually read, it won't help you. But if the Secret Invasion series, when it comes out on Marvel's Disney Plus, if that actually works out in favor, then I would say after watching Secret Invasion, you may want to watch Spider-Woman Agent of Sword because they would probably be complementary. It would
cool.
it would work that way. But without seeing or knowing about Secret Invasion, this particular series is really a Debbie Downer, and you're not seeing the negative impact of what this series, the horror of having this kind of that series can offer you. So it would probably be a little higher than 5, but because I knew about it and where it came from, which is not fair because again, not everyone would know. It's kind of a low bar for me. So I kind of agree with you too.
Okay. Cool.